everybody. Welcome to the February 25th Trips and Traps. Richard Migliore, Andy Serling.
I like the races we're looking at today because I think they point out horses that I'm looking forward to getting to the main track with. I think one horse in particular, not sure a two-turn horse, but definitely wants about a mile.
Yeah, I think the first one we talk about is an interesting horse going forward because the horse we're going to talk about, Cerese's Prince, finished dead last in this race, and it's a situation where absolutely nothing went right from start to finish for Cerese's Prince, who was a trainer change to Danny Gargan, off a layoff of over 9 months, stumbles the stars you see there. And Kendrick, you could see, wanted to get position because Kendrick was clearly understood, Richie, that we had a big inside track. And Kendrick knew the most important thing was try to get this horse into position. Once he stumbles, he has no chance to do that.
No, and even still, he tried to ride him and go forward, but there comes a point where you know you just can't quite get there. And you're going to see they're going to jam up pretty good. If he had continued to kind of hustle, he would have been even in more trouble than eventually he gets in right now.
Well, Manny Franco's the eventual winner of this race. His horse starts to get out here, and he's outside of him, and I think that he was, Kendrick was trying to get position almost behind him, and when that horse bumped into him, basically at that point, his chance, it was about a 5% chance where he was, it went to a negative 50% chance of winning.
Yeah, he was basically eliminated there. And you could see Manny Franco on the eventual winner was trying hard to go straight. I mean, he was even hanging off the one side of him. But this horse actually, I thought, did good, Cerese's Prince, to kind of take him back into the race here nicely, gradually, until eventually he just fell apart.
Well, let's discuss what's happened to this point. He stumbled at the start. He's tried to make up position, which he couldn't get. He got taken out of the race in the first turn, and yet he's still only about 4 lengths out of it at this point. You wonder if he had broken cleanly, and he wasn't winning because Virtual Machine was winning this race under every circumstance.
Yes.
But the point is, what if he had broken cleanly and gotten good position, not been bothered? He would have been in contending position, and he easily could have finished second in this race.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I think he's a horse that doesn't have tremendous gate speed. You go back and watch his race at Churchill Downs. It was a one-turn mile, though. I want to see this horse run one turn, a mile, one turn on the main track, and he'll get an opportunity to get his feet under him and take him into the race the right way.
No, I think that's a very, very good point. At this point, he's in red. He's sort of back there, and Kendrick's trying to get him to go, but he's just given up. And I think it's just a situation. The horse just gave up after the trip. Kendrick understands. He's tired. It's been a long layoff, and every single thing that could go wrong went wrong. Now, once again, nobody is suggesting he would have won this race, but there are circumstances where he could have finished much, much closer. And whatever you think of him, if you liked him in this race, give another chance.
Well, I think you're going to get a much better price because a lot of people won't be able to look past how far he got beat, don't you think? I mean, he was a little over 3-1 here. He's got to easily be 5 or 6-1 next time.
I agree. That's one of the things I like about him. I gotta like a horse like this when he ends up finishing so poorly that no one's going to be able to come back with confidence the next time out. But I think you can really find reasons to just completely throw this race out.
Yeah, I'd put a line through it. I think this horse is definitely going to appreciate the one turn. And let's talk about the winner briefly. I think we both agree. He can take another step forward. He really ran through the wire.
Virtual Machine is a horse that was a maiden, but had run, his last race was a 4th to Gunrunner in the Matt Win. And he only got beaten by 8 lengths by Gunrunner. Gunrunner might be the second best handicap horse in the country behind the unbeatable Arrogate at this point. This is a horse that has some real talent. We'll see. He's now in David Canizzo's barn, and I'm sure David has some high hopes for him.
Yeah, I'm watching that. I mean, I thought he might be vulnerable off the layoff. Watching that, he was impressive.
No, he was very, very good. And keep in mind, it was a big inside track, and he was against it the whole way. Now, we'll go on and we'll talk about a later race in the card, and this was a race where the inside speed carried in Catsadiva, and a very good ride by Manny Franco. Love his new aggressive riding. But the 6 is who we want to talk about in those red and white checks. This was a deep closer, Wasted Midnight, who was victimized, and was going to be victimized regardless. But it does feel like Antonio Gallardo hasn't done as good a job during this meet as he could have in recognizing biases and trying to adapt to them, because not only does he never look to get this horse to the inside, even though he's in the back, he ends up in like the 4-path in the backstretch. He's far wider than he ever needed to be. He never saved any ground. A horse who was going to be victimized anyway, but got no help.
Yeah, none whatsoever. And I think when you realize there is, the track is against you, and there is somewhat of a bias, you have to play the hand dealt you. All right, you got squeezed a bit at the start. Your horse doesn't possess a great deal of speed. Can you win from that far back coming around horses? You'd have to be so much the best. I think you have to make a decision to fight the inside, then save every inch, and hope you get lucky because you can't win the other way.
And not only is he not doing that, I mean, he's literally, you see him back in last on the outside, he's already in the 4 or 5 path. He did absolutely nothing, and he's sending him here at the half-mile pole, and I know he's got to get into it, but why isn't he, like, laying on the 5, trying to get in there somewhere, trying to do something to save some ground? He could have got inside the 3, he could have done things. This is a horse that if he got any help, because it's a miracle that this horse only lost by less than 3 lengths.
Well, and evidenced by the winner is on the lead and looks beaten, looks collared by Family of Roses, the runner-up, and that inside track helping her along. And you know, and you see where the eventual third-place finisher, the horse we're talking about, Oasis at Midnight, is 4-5 deep, pretty much the entire way. You just said about Manny Franco and being aggressive. Well, in Wall Street, they said greed is good, aggression is good.
That's one thing I love about the difference we've seen in Manny this winter. He has been far more aggressive. And listen, it's going to blow up in your face occasionally. But overall, it has definitely helped him, and this aggressive ride won the race. And listen, Oasis at Midnight, to be fair, Gallardo was between a rock and a hard place, and that's being kind. I don't know that he could have gotten a trip that could have won the race for her. But at some point, you have to do something to help her a little bit, and he actually hindered her, in my opinion.
The way I always approached it, especially when you had to call an audible, things didn't maybe fall right into the first turn. Can I win doing it this way? And if I assess quickly, no, I can't, well, I might look like a fool and get stopped or stuck in a spot, but then I'm going to do it this way because I can win that way if things go correctly. And that's what your best riders do. They assess the situation. It's like a quarterback gets to the line of scrimmage. He sees they're lined up for a blitz. Call an audible.
I'll give you an interesting example of that. Rajiv Mirage was on a horse, I think about a week or so ago. Maybe it was even this day. And he was a dead speed.
Joe Mooch?
Dead speed. No.
Yes, yeah, it was for Pat Reynolds off the layup.
Yeah, Pat Reynolds off a layup. Horse got completely eliminated at the break. What did Raj do? He went right to the rail with him, and he said, I have 0 chance to win this race if I don't get on the rail right away.
Right.
And he daringly came through. He had to go around one horse in the 2-path briefly around the turn, went right to the rail, snuck through on the inside. He gave his horse every possible opportunity to win that race, and it happened to be a bad field. The second choice didn't run, and he got through and he got it done. But no way does he win that race if he doesn't take every edge.
Well, if he comes around, he definitely doesn't win, and he was basically eliminated at the start.
Eliminated.
So, again, he made that quick assessment. That quick assessment. All right, if I got any chance, this is how it's going to be.
Right.
If not, there'll be another day.
Right. He gave him a chance to win, and as it turned out, it worked out. And that's the best thing you can do. And listen, this horse was between a rock and a hard place. Once again, not trying to be too hard, but you've got to. And sometimes, you know, this is the first winter that Gallardo's ridden here. He's a talented rider, but these guys, he's never ridden full time against riders. The talent that he's riding against this winter. Watch guys like Raj, watch guys like Manny, but watch guys like Kendrick Carmouche, who is as attuned to the racetrack as any rider I've ever seen. Yeah. He's as attuned to a track as Cordero was in his prime.
He really is focused in on it, and you could see he goes out with a plan. Now, like you said, every now and then it blows up on you. Of course. But I'd always rather be aggressive and make an aggressive mistake than be passive and become a victim.
Absolutely, and we'll talk about that a little bit in this race. And the horses we want to focus on are one horse, Paid Admission, a trainer changed to Danny Garden, coming off a layup, who once again was completely eliminated at the start. You see steadying out, but also the 8 Mills, who I think ran sneakily well in here, second off a layup, stretching out. He's not really a speed, but what do you do at this point, Richie?
Well, I think, you know, again, talk about snap judgments. Sometimes you're better off, even if it's not a horse's style, don't get in their way. He broke well. He actually looked like he had a potential, if not to clear, at least be laying second. And
they went 25-50.
But then it looked like it almost dawned on Angel Royal, well, he's more of a closer, so I got to get him back. And you know what? I think at that point, he'd have been better off trying something different. Who knows? If Mills is a bit in one pace, which I believe he is, I think he's a horse that's more of a grinder. Maybe if he's more involved with a half and 50, and almost 51, maybe he just keeps grinding and he can win that way.
Well, it's not like he ever stopped running. He lost this race by 2 3/4 lengths. And nobody really gained much ground, because you look at the eventual winner is in the pocket behind. The second horse is sitting 3 wide outside. The horse who's in front ends up finishing third in this race. And Mills is all the way back here. Now, poor Paid Admission. He's once again a horse. I think he deserves another chance, second off a layoff, and he was eliminated at the start, had no chance. You know, you wonder, it's possible that the trader said, you know, Mills wants to take him back and do these things, and, you know, too much going through his head. Arroyo, I got to get him into position. It's hard, and he's in a tough spot. But sometimes when they're going that slow, just go forward.
Yeah, I mean, and you'd be surprised. Just because a horse hasn't been on the lead before doesn't mean he's not necessarily he's not going to like it.
No, and he's going absolutely, and he's going right now trying to rally when the horses are speeding things up, and that's a hard thing to do. And he ends up, and this was a very fair track, but he ends up all the way in the outside paid admissions back here with no chance.
And a lot else going on here. Now, I mean, look at the horse on the lead. He's going to jump the tire tracks and lose his action completely. And he was fighting for it at that point. Don't know that he was going to win, but it certainly cost him. Now, the eventual winner is able to get out on Testosterone, who kind of had him in a trick bag and probably should have never let him out of that spot. And you could see right there when he jumped those tracks, Storm and Monarcho,
right.
You know.
But Mills is still running. I mean, Mills is the one horse in this race that was really moving forward from a back position. And, this was a tough thing, and absolutely neither one of us are trying to pick on Angel Royale because he was really, once again,
tough spot.
In a very tough spot. But sometimes, man, the right thing to do is just go forward. And you know who does it a lot? Jose Ortiz.
Well, absolutely. If don't take anything away that's coming easy to them. And if you got to use them a bit more to go forward, I think that's better off. What do we say? Get your position going forward. Don't find your position going backwards. Now, I know Angel Royale's aggressive by nature. He rides aggressively. Yeah. I think it's almost like it jumped into his mind in that moment, like, wait a second, this horse isn't supposed to be on the pace.
Yeah, I feel as though you almost could sense that there was some, whether they were instructions or what they were, and things going through his head, or he looked at the horse and he handicapped and said, he's a come-from-behind horse, but sometimes they're giving it to you, and as you say, we've seen closers win races on the front end, and I think the chart for the Belmont Stakes when Swale won said closed off his own fractions.
Yeah, well, right. Just because he got to go slow, he's still quicking through the lane.
Were you really on the lead if you were going that slowly?
I have a question about paid admission, and I agree with you. He was eliminated at the start. But there were two Danny Gargan horses, Ceresis Prince and paid admission, making their first start off of layoffs from Churchill Downs.
First time for Danny.
And they both kind of blew up. Is that a concern for you going forward?
Well, that's an interesting. Well, here's the question. Was paid admission, the other horse stumbled at the start.
Yeah.
This horse, I don't know if the trouble was his own. I think the trouble he may have been a little bit unlucky here.
Right.
So I'm not really sure. No, Danny wins. All I know is Danny wins. So no, I mean, you don't like the trouble. The first one, Ceresis Prince, didn't have trouble in his first start, so I'm going to hope it was just a bad luck stumble.
Yeah, I think it was. You could see he was a little bit tense in the gate, and I think he was a little bit fresh. I like Ceresis Prince. Again, one turn.
Yeah, I'm not saying I love paid admission going forward, but he just lost all chance at the start here, and it was a slow-paced race. Once again, we can always use your help. It's trips and traps at NYRadio.com.